Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 3.
I'm Debbie.
I'm Ronnie.
I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Lisa McIntyre. This is Working Wonders. Today's episode is on branding. Who would like to kick us off?
I'll go first. So the main question that I think that we're going to be focusing on is, what is branding to each of us? So like, where do we focus ourselves? Because everybody has something different when they think about what they want, their target audience and things like that. So I think that Debbie, you've been in business the longest for us. Like, what do you do as far as when you think of branding?
So the truth is, branding, I think, is a relatively newish kind of thing in terms of how long I've been in business. I've been in business almost 30 years, actually really in business probably 30 years, and just, incorporated, not quite 30 years. First few years we weren't quite legal, I guess. But there wasn't such a, I don't think the term branding existed. And in fact, Judy and I had this big argument about whether we had the logo when we started. And she kept saying we definitely had a logo. And today now I just emailed her like papers from before. I said we got our logo in 2000, which was about 8 years after we went into business. She said, no, we had it forever, but we didn't. We really got our first logo in 2000. And
when did you open?
I'm going to share it with you because I showed it the first episode, but it was really old looking, and you can see the bubble letters and such an old font.
It's cute.
It looks 30
I think
years
it's
old.
Cute.
So who's DJ?
Yeah, but it nobody uses bubble letters anymore for anything. I mean, it's really
is it DJ because of Debbie and Judy?
No, we started in the gift basket business. It was DJ's Gifts to Go, and then we fell in love, and that's how we incorporated, which is the Inc. And then we fell in love with balloons, so we needed a new name. So that's when we became Inflated Creations. And stupid me, I thought, let's spell it DEEJAY to make it like as difficult as possible for people. Like D and a J by itself, no, that wasn't good for me. I needed a DEE and a JAY. So, you learn things while you're going along, and that's some of the advantages of being in business a long time, because then in 2012, which is really a long time for a logo, we moved to this, which is the same idea, the same thing, but updated fonts, a little more modern looking. And now in 2020, we feel, a few people told us like we should get rid of this silver ring around it. So now we're in the middle. We haven't chosen yet, so you're going to be the first to see the ones that we're thinking of. This is one.
I'm excited. That's cute.
2 and 3. Double font. We sort of like the one with the balloons on the side better. But there's this and this, and then there's this one with the balloons on the other side. I think. Oh, and this one.
I like that. I
think it's the one that I like. This is the one that I think we like the best.
I like the last one.
Yeah, this one.
I like the first one. But I have a preference where I like doing the cursive over the printing, but like that layer look.
The reason I wanted the cursive for the creations is because creations is more flowy.
Yeah.
Like it's the creations that are more. So, we haven't made a decision yet. Maybe I'll email all of you, choices. I don't know if it will count your choices.
Right. It's always good to have a team.
I have a meeting with the graphic designer tomorrow to tell her the ones we like and what we want her to do them. But you see how fonts change. So to us right now, our branding, I would say, is mostly our logo. Like, we're not TikTok people. We do Instagram and stuff, but I'm not even sure exactly what else we would do in branding. The logo shirts and though somebody gave us the idea to do name tags instead, then you don't have to wear a particular shirt. You just, one of those magnetic name tags.
Right.
But to me, mostly our branding is our logo, which I'm sure is also a little old fashioned.
Well, our viewers do have a lot of opinions on what you showed.
On my logo or on what branding is?
On your logo. So if you wanted to, you probably could put up selection A, B, C, D, and I'm sure
maybe I will.
I'll do that
after the show.
I think that you definitely have a good poll going. So I just want to let you know that that's the chat is just chock full of opinions on which one you
Good,
should
I'm
pick.
glad.
Right,
I'll put a
that's right.
poll up. Like I said,
I
not
always
that
think
I'm
of-
necessarily going to listen.
I
to
always
it,
think of
but
the fact that I feel weird putting cursive on things. Like I love like cursive, but I think about the kids where it's like there's an entire generation that doesn't know how to read in cursive because like they stopped learning in school.
Right.
know how to
True.
read. I don't think they know how to write it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a challenge. There was
So-
literally like a challenge going around where it was like, can you write your name without lifting the pen? Like, do you not know about cursive? Like, oh, you don't.
Right.
In other words, that's what they call it, writing your name without lifting a pen?
Yeah, that's how
Right.
they don't even know what it's called.
Wow.
I remember sitting at, at the
Yeah.
blackboard and,
Mhm.
writing big letters. And my mom had a beautiful handwriting. I don't have such a nice handwriting. And mine's
My
sort
mom
of
has
a
great handwriting.
meld between cursive and script. It's like cursive.
They're not
and-
even teaching spelling anymore.
No,
My youngest is
Really?
13 and we haven't had a
Mm.
spelling test for him since, I don't know.
Oh, Lucas
second,
has a spelling
third-
test every
third
week.
grade, something like that. Yeah. What grade is Lucas in?
4th.
Yeah. The last time I remember Keely, my 18-year-old having a spelling test was in the 5th grade. They actually had a spelling bee, and I don't remember Owen having one. He's 5 years younger. I don't remember him having one for years and years, and he's in 8th grade now.
Yeah,
they just
Lucas
like
has never had a spelling
autocorrect.
bee. Yeah, but
They're more worried about
definitely,
grammar
like, he
and-
has sight
Ladies,
words
I need
every
They want the
week.
kids to be able to type.
I need you to teach me what else is branding besides your logo.
Well, Stephanie, what do you think of when you think
Well,
of branding for your company?
So I was just gonna say, so
Elves.
for me,
Elves.
I'm very, yeah, elves. Well, so, and it's funny that you say that because I was gonna lead into the point of like, generations like Ronnie and I, where we're just starting our business, we would be considered like de novos of businesses. It's really easy to brand yourself without having to do a lot of extra work using social media platforms. So and this is one of the things, like, this is my disclaimer to anyone who's new in the business who's watching this, because I put myself through the ringer. I thought that I had to make decisions on color schemes and logos and all of these things. And it's very stressful when you're first starting out. And when you're first starting out and you have limited funds, and truthfully, you need to be allocating those funds to equipment and insurance so that your business is protected and your family is protected. Like, those things are truthfully what's the foundation of your business, and obviously your work and your customer service. Everything else kind of falls into place after that. So when I was first starting in business, I had called somebody to make a custom logo for me and they told me it was $500. Well, it was more important to me to upgrade my inflator that I was using as opposed to having a logo. So I literally downloaded a graphic designing app and I just created my own app. It was very simple, very clean, and I just posted it as my profile picture on Facebook. So, flash forward, now we've been in business for 2 years. We're now incorporated. People, we really have, we're starting to build up momentum behind our name. Now I'm sitting down with the marketing team and I'm talking about what my vision is for the company going forward. So for me personally, for LGM, that's, and I know Lisa, like you and I had talked about this privately. I had a hard time picking the name for my business. And you're like Googling all these names of these businesses, and there's, balloons this and balloons by whoever, and dream balloons and gorgeous balloons, and like everything is balloons. And I'm like, I don't know what to do,
And does that limit you? Does that make it that if you ever expand,
it does make it, yeah, it does make
face
it hard.
painting or linens or invitations, does it limit you?
Right. Well, and so that's another thing. It's funny that you say that, because when I first started, I envisioned the company being different than what I envision it now. So when I first started, if you would have asked me, where do I see myself in 5 years, we would have been an all-encompassing event company. So balloons, you could do tent rentals, chair rentals. I wanted to get into bounce houses. I wanted the princesses and the characters. And now I've streamline that.
Yeah,
You
weren't
know,
you
and I did. I
like during
wanted to
our
do the
production
gift
meeting, weren't you
baskets,
like just making piles of stuff to like get rid of? Like, we're not doing this anymore, we're not doing that anymore. Like you were like
yeah,
streamlining
I
your
mean,
business.
if anyone visited the Goodwill in New Lenox, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, because there was a lot
New
of money
Lenox,
that was
Illinois,
given
right?
away. New Lenox,
Mhm.
Illinois, come on down. A lot of money. I gave away a lot of greenery, a lot of flowers, baskets, all sorts of stuff that, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of dollars that I spent. But you realize once you get into the business, you don't want to do everything.
Yeah.
You also realize I don't want to
Some
carry
people do.
insurance.
Some people want to be that
Some people
CEO
do.
of a big company and have
Oh,
all
yeah.
these divisions and under people. But if you want to get your hands dirty, you can't do it all.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and so exactly what you just said. So if you're a big corporate and you break into divisions of things, that's once you start to build your team. But when you're a sole proprietorship, you really have to hone in and you really have to do something well. So, I'm going to tell you, and this, I might be putting my foot in my mouth here, but one of my biggest pet peeves that I have when I see people in the industry is it's like, they're a balloon person. They do t-shirts, they do sweets, they do gift bags, they do this, they do this, they do that. And then they have a full-time job. And like, how, God bless you if you can do all of that. I know you're not carrying insurance for all of those things that you're doing. And, for me, it was like, that's great. I can do 10 things, but I'm doing 10 things and I'm doing them half-assed. So I need to
Yeah.
hone in on
Yeah,
what I
my
want to do.
True.
my
And,
response whenever I
and I
see
want
stuff
to, and
like
I
that
want to
is
do
like,
it well.
how many clones do you have and where can I get them? Because it's
Yeah.
just like there's
Exactly.
no way. And
Right.
and you have
Yeah.
a social life, like there's no way.
Right.
Like, you're
You
raising
have
Well, and you
small
children
guys,
too.
children?
Like,
exactly. You guys know this. I have 2 small kids. So, I have to, and this is like, I will tell you, my biggest New Year's resolution for 2021 is finding that balance. And, there's times where, LGM is gangbusters and, all of my focus is on LGM. And then I feel that tug inside and I'm like, okay, I haven't seen my kids for 3 days. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or I've been with my kids and I'm doing the mom thing and I'm rocking the mom thing. And I'm like, I haven't posted anything for LGM. So that is a huge goal for me for 2021. But my main thing, if anyone is asking about branding, my main piece of advice, and this is something that I've learned, is like you have to hone in on what you want to do and you have to do it well. Because regardless of if you have a marketing team behind you, if you have a graphic designer who's just created you a gorgeous logo and you've spent $1,000 on it, if your work doesn't back up that logo means nothing.
Right.
You are your
Definitely.
brand, your work is your brand, and you have to throw yourself into that and you have to do it well.
I don't think anybody
Um,
ever calls somebody because they have a great logo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
A
exactly.
good logo makes you, a
I'll be
good
honest
logo
with
makes you feel good. Like, what do I want this for? It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
But
Right.
nobody's calling me whether I have the balloons on the right or the balloons on the left in the logo. Oh, she has the
But
balloons on
you
the
have,
left. We can't use her. She's
Yeah.
not.
right.
It's
And you
ridiculous.
have the foundation to back you up. Like you
Mhm.
have enough accolades behind your business name and enough good reviews and enough word of mouth business that, you can allocate funds to that now. What
Right.
I'm saying to somebody is that to me, in my opinion, that's not the most important thing out the
No,
gate.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to
When you're
hire you
starting, yeah.
because of
When you're
that.
starting, it's
Exactly.
definitely the logo is definitely not the most important. Okay, so
I would
Lisa,
say
you and I,
consistency on social media,
yeah,
110%.
That changed
Yeah.
our business when we started
Yeah.
posting on Instagram, which was a big leap
Mhm.
for us because we're not 20 or 30
Mhm.
or 40.
Yeah.
And it was like a
Yeah.
big leap. And so we hired somebody to do our Instagram because I wanted to do it right.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I started to try and do it right. And it was not for me. What can I tell you? And as soon as we started advertising on Instagram, because that's what you're doing on Instagram, our
Mhm.
business completely changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We 50% more revenue because we widened our office, our audience so much. And I think that, that's what you have to do. I wanted to ask you guys a question. Is customer service considered part of your branding?
Oh,
I think so.
absolutely.
I think the
Yes.
way that you
Absolutely.
handle customers is definitely going to be like that's something major with branding, I think, because like so for me, like my husband answered the phone, he was managing the business, and I basically just got to be the artist. And people really like talking to him. Like the customers really like talking to him. He's, I don't know, like he's like I don't even know how to describe him. He's like your goofy cousin, and they're just like, yeah, no, we want them, like we want them to come in
Dave.
and do our balloons. And he's like, but he's very good about, you know, the no nonsense. Like he can
Right.
play with people and like have a good time with him, but he was very good about like, here's what you're getting for this, and here's what you can have for that. And like that is that. And for some reason, if he tells somebody like, if you can't afford it, you can't get it, and they're like, okay. But if I say if you can't afford it, you can't get it, then like I have an attitude. And I really do like, and this is something like, this is totally something for like another
Well, does
conversation.
he
But I
probably
think
says it in a
that
different way.
Yeah, how
no,
much is that like a
he's
male-female
so
thing too? Or
he
is he
is
that
so
much nicer
like
than you?
he is straight up tactless. He will literally tell somebody like, no, you can't afford that, you can't have it. And I have to be super
Yeah.
nice about it. And like we'll have to touch on that on another, like basically like men versus women, because it definitely comes a lot like where I have to tiptoe and be nice and be very proper and all this stuff with people, because they'll say that a woman has an attitude, but a guy like, oh no, he's cool, he's fine, like he's
Maybe
just
they
telling me
also
how it is.
accept
It's
it from
very
him
weird.
better.
Very weird. Yeah.
Right.
You know,
There's
Well,
because
and
he's a
been
there's
man,
times
so
when
they
yeah.
accept it because, you know.
Yeah.
he
And like
does
there's been
wrong.
times when like I'll be dealing with a customer and then I'll have to like hand the phone over and just be like, I need you to tell this person no. Because they won't take a no from
Yeah.
me, but they'll take
Right.
it from him.
Well,
I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and that's a huge
little
part of
off
my
topic, but
branding
yeah.
because being home based, people thought that they could call me. You know, I've gone
Or
through a lot
show
of
up at your house at
transitions.
7 in the morning.
With an
Yeah.
elf.
Just
Yeah.
crazy.
Right.
So crazy.
Hey, that logo on my van's working.
Yeah,
Right,
right.
you're
Well,
getting
that's, you know,
business.
and
Yeah,
we
did
can
you-
talk about that later, because I think
Yeah.
anybody that wasn't on the call last night needs to hear a little bit more about that, especially with what your husband said afterwards.
Yeah,
Which is great.
Oh my
I was
God.
like, yes.
right. Yeah.
I
said
do want
I'm gonna
You and
schedule
you and
people
I,
to come.
we started, I think.
can I interrupt real quick? Because
Yeah.
I did want to point out, Debbie asked us if what was the question you asked? You said
Customer service is part of your branding.
thank you. Yes. A little bit before that, Matt Russell put in the chat that he says, my branding is my customer service and the ease to deal with me. And then you
I
asked that
think
question.
ours
I just like,
also,
I
yeah.
think that we all pretty much agree that, you know.
Well, Matt's got that accent, so I feel like there's always
Yeah, Matt's
ease to deal
adorable.
with
You know,
him.
I feel
Like
like
people
Matt-
just
You
sound
know, but
Matt-
also,
Matt can tell
and
me-
look, he's up
yeah.
and on our show.
You could tell me to kick rocks
Right.
and I'd be like,
And
thank you, Matt.
everybody in Australia has that same accent. So, you
Yeah.
know.
like he wrote
Yeah.
something to me on Facebook, and I could literally, like, as I was reading it, I could hear him
Oh.
like saying it, and it like instantly like soothed me. He was like, if you have a kutza, you could do it very easily. That's probably like a horrible interpretation of his accent, so I apologize. But like I could like hear him say it, and I just was like, you're so cute, Matt.
So cute. Yeah, whenever so I try and impersonate Arnold Schwarzenegger on occasion to my husband. That's a tangent there. And every time I do, he's just kind of like, that's Australian, honey.
Aw.
But I can't
Right.
imitate Australian people either. So I don't know where he gets that
Right.
from.
Yeah.
Matt says that he doesn't have an accent in Australia. So
Yeah, right.
and so Robbie, you were
Neither
saying
do
you
I.
and I
I think I feel like you and I, as far as like the start of our branding bubble started off the same, because I started focusing on twisting.
yeah, absolutely same.
Yeah. And like I struggled with my name with twisting, because like when I started, well, I want to hear yours is more interesting than mine. Mine was my name was stupid and my husband told me so, and then he's like, we're changing it, and we changed it, and then I got business. That was it.
So I started out with a company that will not be named, and it does not have a good reputation in the twister industry, but I had no idea. I answered a Craigslist ad, you know, balloon twisting in restaurants, we will train you, money sign, money sign, money sign, money sign. And
That's
so
the
we
guys
got
who
lots
run
of
Shark Tank.
Yes.
Just asking.
yes, Yes.
I won't say a
Um,
name, but I just wanted
And
to.
I know him
Well,
now.
hot
I know
damn,
him
they made it all the way
personally.
to Shark Tank.
Oh
Yeah,
no, you
and
have
you
to
know,
watch the episode.
this is like, oh my God, that's
Now
like
I
a
know what
whole
I'll
nother
be doing at
episode
2
is
a.m.
discussing
Yeah,
is
yeah,
discussing that company.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack.
No,
No,
I literally
it's okay.
just found out about that company last year because the Shark Tank the Shark
Oh my
Tank
God.
episode came up, and I was like, "What is this? Well, this is a terrible
I
idea."
also, I thought,
Oh
what
my
a
God,
terrible
so wait,
idea.
now I want to hear
And
it.
then we
Lisa,
looked
say
it up,
'cause
and
now
then
wanna
I
hear it.
contacted a couple of the Twisters. I was like, "What is this thing that was on Shark Tank?" And they were like, "Oh, it's a thing." They told me
Yes,
all the
it's,
stories,
oh my
and the
goodness.
twist
My
and shout, and yeah,
my first balloon
crazy.
convention, a twister who is a very dear friend of mine now said that at my first balloon convention, mind you, it was my first balloon convention, and I was never meant to feel, at no point did I feel unwelcome or that it was cliquey or anything like that. But my dear friend now is, even back then, was a name in the balloon industry, like he was known. And I don't think I'm like narrowing it down by saying he. There's a lot more men twisting than there are,
Yeah.
you know, decorators full of women and twisters. I think
Yeah.
it's more of a 50-50 split, but maybe a little bit more heavily on the men's side. Anyway, he said that he's in the jam room and somebody pulled him aside and was like, that one works for blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, he says that he doesn't remember who it is, but I'm like, I want to know who it was. Like,
No way.
I was not there representing that company. I was there as myself representing my own company. But the whole
Okay,
point
was
is
that the year that they had the T-shirts?
that was no, I think that was before that because I only
Okay.
found out about that afterwards. That
Oh
was
my
in
God, this is juicy. I have to
2014.
take a sip.
Now I don't know what they're talking about.
Yes.
After we get off air, we'll have to tell you the whole,
Drama.
I'll tell you what
This is
I
getting
know, and then
juicy.
we'll have to hear Lisa's
Yeah.
side of it.
So
Stephanie, you and I will get
all
all
of
the
my-
twister dirt.
All the Twister tea.
it's useless old news, but it's, you know,
Really,
I
yeah,
get
but
what
it's
you're
still
right.
really
Twisted tea.
interesting. Yeah.
Old tea's good tea. We'll reheat it for you. Yeah, so all of my twisting emails were coming to my personal email address. I'm like, this is too much. And so I created a new email address on Yahoo. And, you know, please nobody steal my ID. But my name is Lisa Lynn McIntyre. And so I created my new thing. It was just for those automated emails to come. And I typed in LILYMC Twister. So, you know, it was
Lily
the first
McTwister.
3 letters of my name. And it was Lily McTwister. And I told I walked into the room and I told my husband, I'm like, hey, you know, I created a new email so that way I'm not like bogged down. Like all of these twisting emails were coming to my personal stuff. And I was afraid I was going to lose something for work. It's really important. I don't think anybody in here would argue. It's really important to have a separate email for your personal than your business email. And both my teenager and my husband were like, you're stupid. Everybody's going to think your name is Lily. And I'm like, no, like it's an automated email. It's an automated email. And they're like, no, everybody's going to think your name's Lily McTwister. And I'm like, okay. So I changed it to Lisa McTwister. And then fast forward a year, 2 years, and I moved to Rochester and I go in to get my DBA. And they're like, what's your company name? And I, being the idiot that I am, was like, oh, like I just thought that I could just like go and say, hey, I'm going to be doing balloon business here. But like they wanted a name and I went in completely unprepared. I did not have a name because I was no longer going to be working just for that company. I was going to be working for myself. And I'm like, because when I did the Lily McTwister, I changed it to Lisa McTwister at yahoo.com. And then I was like, Lisa McTwister. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, oh, I can change that later. It's been 8
How
years
many years
now.
later have you
It's
changed?
been 8 years. Like I don't really do anything with the name. It's just people know me as Lisa. I answer the phone, whether it's business or, hi, this is Lisa. How can I help you? And so it covers that. And I was telling Stephanie that I've been looking to rebrand. And post-COVID, whenever I'm going back into business, like, you know, full force, I'm like, what a perfect time to rebrand. So like, I'm taking notes, y'all. Like, give me the juice because I need to know what to do because I need to come up with the name first. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And
So we
You
talked about
mentioned
this,
something
Lisa.
that's a real issue for us because my personal email is Debbie at Inflated Creations, and it's my business email too. And the reason for that is because when I started my business, there was no Gmail. And
Mhm.
and AOL
So
cost
you have a
money.
domain.
And I had a
You have a
website,
domain,
and
right?
my domain
Yeah.
gave me mailboxes. So I
Yeah.
thought, okay, free email. How many emails am I going to get? You know, like nobody
But that's
emails
easier
anybody.
to
years
change.
ago.
Debbie,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah,
definitely.
you know that.
easier.
Yeah.
Who knew that email was going to be the way that anybody in this world would get in touch with anybody else?
Right.
So I
Well-
tried this last year. I made a private email, D Levy, at it just didn't work. It's too complicated. So I go through every email and I have little boxes where I shoot them. But he's starting out now, dedicated, and also a pet peeve of mine, just because I think it's more professional. Inflated Creations at gmail.com does not have the same ring as Debbie at
No, and you're right.
inflatedcreations.com.
You're
Well, and
absolutely
that's
right.
It's
I have
not expensive now to get a domain.
Here's the
You
problem though.
really need
If
to have
you
an
go
email
to
address with your business.
yeah, but if you go to change it, so like when I started, I was mainly focused on twisting. And so I started off and I was like, I'm gonna be Twisted Ronnie. Got like the email aids, we got the info at 20.com. You know, we got all that stuff. And then a year goes by and Dave's like, do you know why you're not getting business and why nobody's Googling Twisted Ronnie? Because nobody knows who the hell Twisted Ronnie is. You're not going to get business doing that. And now, you know, a year into it, I was doing decor also. And he's like, nobody's going to call Twisted Ronnie for decor. And so he's like, let me take over and find you a name and find you a domain that's going to be Googleable and that you're gonna, you know, you're gonna be able to do all this stuff. And I was like, fine, you know. And here's the thing, my husband is when you look for, if you look in Vegas, if you type those into the Google search, he's the first one that comes up because he's very good at branding. And that was his main thing, was that he mentioned magician. He worked out of corporates and stuff. And he found out what area. And so that's what he did with my balloon business. And he put in, I became Vegas Balloon Twister. And then we were like, okay, like what websites are out there? So we did the whole, how many variations of, you know, Vegas balloon or balloons in Vegas or all these different things. So we found that the website, and it was no, and so we put Vegas. We bought that. It was $8. Got all the Instagram, all that stuff, and I was going and then right when COVID hit, I had some really good jobs, and I was like, there's a lot of people that are starting balloons like in area, and somebody is going to put their money in and they're going to take vegasballoon.com, and I'm going to lose my shit in ways that I don't understand. Yeah. We need to buy that website. And so my seed money that I had saved up for inventory and stuff throughout 2020, we put all of that towards getting vegasballoon.com, and it was the most important thing to me. Completely unnecessary. Like at this point, people know that it's vegas-balloon.com, and I have the Instagram, and people know that I'm Vegas Balloon because I took the information that I learned from my class at Float, and I was like, I'm going to put that to good use. And I took the class. I've got my notebook here because I'm going to plug the Float
what a
notebook.
Good girl.
And
You're
the
so
class
cute,
that I
Annie.
took was the marketing class by Sarah Meyer. How do you say her name? Meyer. And she has, if you have your Float notebook and you didn't go to her class, read the notes, because this will know me, because every third picture on my Instagram is me. Whether it's me with or without balloons, it doesn't matter. And it's because if people are following me, or if they look up Vegas Balloon and then they see my face, they know, oh, that's Vegas Balloon. To the point where like I've like pre-COVID, if I was twisting at a festival or something, people would be like, that's Vegas Balloon. I follow her on Instagram.
That's what we're not doing.
So
we're a little shy. Yeah. I don't have any. Yeah. Judy said we have to take videos of us working. I said, oh, come on, no.
And that's where my Lisa
even if you set up a camera and do time lapse.
Yeah, that's what she said. She said we should set up a time lapse, and And I'm thinking,
Yeah, people eat that up.
They do.
My most successful Instagram video is literally me blowing up garland balloons. I'm not even putting it together. I'm just standing there on my Legenda, just
they love
blowing
it.
up some red and green balloons from 2 years ago. And I'm going, I don't understand how I have so many views and likes on this video. It's dumb. I just set up the camera in the corner and I would do the same thing if I was twisting balloons. If I knew it was going to be something big, like even if it was something small, like a unicorn, I'd set up at a party and the focus was just on me because I wanted to make sure I didn't get any of the guests at the party. And I would go and I would kind of like pantomime to the camera. It's a little 30-second video. I throw it on there and it's like, oh, look, I also do balloon twisting, or like, oh, look
I've
at
heard
this,
from several businesses that they're like, be your own logo, be your own watermark.
Yeah.
If you take your photo with this fantastic display behind you or beside you, you know, that's a photo that will get shared and liked and saved. But if you watermark it, other businesses are not necessarily going to share your photo. And so like it builds into that, like, and I'm not talking like other balloon businesses, I'm talking like, you know, party planning
Other
businesses and stuff,
businesses, right?
because
Yeah.
they can take and put your photo in their brag book and hire you for those events. But if it has your watermark on it, they're not going to show that to their
Yeah, they
customer,
don't
because
want
then
their
their customer is
customers
going to
to-
like,
Well,
I'm going to call that company.
I have an agent. I actually have 3 agents here in Vegas that if I do something spectacular, I send that directly to them and say, hey, look at this awesome install that I had. I don't know if any of your customers can use this. And I send it without the watermark to them. And then
right?
that way that's something that they know, like, oh, hey, like, okay. And they have that in there,
Right.
but that way I know, like, they know, like, oh, hey, and
They can show it, but they know to hire you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that way,
We have to
because
get
like,
better at that. Like, who was it? Somebody here who said about taking? I think Ronnie said it 2 weeks about
I had to
taking
look,
a
yeah,
picture.
I had to look cute for my install because it was the first
Yeah.
time that I was
Yeah.
doing Christmas balloons and I needed pictures of me with my Christmas balloons.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
got all-
and it's
I
so
got all
funny that you
dressed up
say
for-
that.
for this
So this
install.
is, you know, we're talking about being your brand.
Mhm.
And you do have to be your brand. So, you know, all of us go to our installs differently. Like me and Lisa, we already said, like, you know, well, Lisa, you said that you do have, when you are performing, you have a outfit, a uniform.
I channel my inner Ronnie.
Yeah.
And when I'm performing, I do oftentimes it's a fit and flare type outfit with a petticoat or something similar.
Right.
And that's just, you know, it's flattering on my figure. And, you know, at first I was like, oh, I don't want to be like every other cute balloon twister. And then I'm like, wait a minute, Ronnie doesn't live in my area. Nobody in my
right.
area is wearing those outfits. So why shouldn't
I
I look
used to
cute
I
to
used to
people in my
focus
area?
on stripes because Tanya Bubbles, who is the person that I learned from, she's polka dots. So
Oh, and
if
see, I
you
totally
see, yeah,
channel the polka dot
So
thing.
yeah, polka
she
dots
has
are
like a little
polka dots are like
thing.
a huge like a twister thing. And I was like, no, she's Tanya Bubbles. I am Ronnie J. And so it was like, I'm gonna be stripes because she's polka dots. And I made sure,
Right.
like, at any time I buy dresses, if I'm going out to do an event, unless they specifically say like, and I have had somebody say like, oh, we want you to wear polka dots to match the decor. I'm like, nope. I try to do not polka dots, basically. to
Yeah.
try to make me-
Right.
I
So
do
if you're a
both.
That's
if
your
you're a
brand, not polka dots.
non-entertainer,
Yeah,
Right.
not
I
polka dots.
I do both. I do stripes and polka dots. I prefer the stripes because they're oftentimes more slimming. But now that I've lost a lot of weight, I'm like, I am polka dotting it up because, you know, 100 pounds ago, polka dots on me did not look great.
And I love polka
And-
dots.
Right.
It's
Well,
very
you
hard
look like
'cause
one big
I
polka dot.
love
Now
polka
you
dots.
don't.
Yeah, well, you know, it's just kind of like these polka dots are like, you know, 2 inches wide and I need 1,000 on me to cover. You know, it just was like it was not, I didn't like it. Anyway.
Right.
But
So from the non-entertainer side of things, so if you're a decorator, it's equally as important for you to look professional,
Yeah.
just as you would if you were an entertainer. So,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
I love Steve's company where they all show up and they've got the purple like
Yes.
shirts on and it has their and you know, like, okay, like, you know who's there doing your install because they all match. And like that's like I definitely think, and when I show up, if I have, you know, my husband and my best friend, we have matching polos. that we can all wear. And it's like the logo's tiny, but you know that we're all together. So that it's like, oh no, like those are the balloon people.
I have a
like
shelf
it's
in my
definitely
closet. It's my collection of whenever I work for, because if y'all remember, I'm a
Then
hired
you
gun,
like
right?
filter through.
right.
I
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
I've got like a stack of like, this company, this company, this company, this company. And sometimes it's a loaner, so I have to give it back. But sometimes it's like, no, we got this shirt for you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
more for my collection.
And you don't have
So
to,
that's
like,
one of the things.
It's not because like getting printed shirts is an investment. Like it definitely is. I got a Cricut, and I figured out how to put my logo really back across the back of a white t-shirt.
Mhm.
And it looks good. It doesn't look cheap, but it's not like it was professionally made. But I honestly think that us just showing up in the same color, me just being like, hey, wear your charcoal, like wear a charcoal gray shirt, all of us matching, even if we don't have the logo on, it's all about that uniformity.
Yeah, but
Well,
this
see,
is
we
the
have that
thing.
going on right
difference.
If you
now.
want to get printed things, keep your eye open for Land's End sales. They have
Mhm.
sales
Yes.
where they don't charge
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
like a plate charge, and they do
Yeah.
embroidery, which in the end is much nicer than
And
It is much
honestly,
nicer.
Etsy, you can go to Etsy. I got my very first like professional t-shirt. I found a lady on Etsy who did it for me for $12. I sent her my logo, and
Oh,
she
wow.
sent me my shirt back. She put it in the front for me, and the back, it looks beautiful. $12, $3 ship, $15. And I had a custom shirt, and then I was like, I can do this.
Well, yeah,
I've
we
done it on
started-
aprons. I've never done it on a shirt yet.
Well, you
Yeah.
were talking
we
about
started off
consistency.
with the
We're
screen printing.
Yeah.
I was just going to say
What?
that we do that. I'm sure the viewers have noticed that, like, we match our
Yeah, we
we
have
don't
our
match
colors.
them, but we coordinate
Yeah.
our backgrounds. We all have the same color every week to week, and we're wearing black until it's like
Till we decide we
costume
don't want
time
to
or something.
anymore.
Yeah, and
Right.
just so there's like some uniformity in design, right?
Yeah.
And
And in case you forget our names, you can call me Lime.
yes, it's like
Yeah, I'll
you're
be
the
Pinky.
green one.
You're the green one, right?
But
So yeah,
the-
these are all
Stephanie?
things like everybody who delivers for me, the very first thing that they get is they get zip up hoodie, they get a long sleeve shirt, and they get a t-shirt. So I am transitioning now. Again, this is something like you don't do this stuff right out of the gate. You don't have means
Right.
for all of
And
these
you don't
things right
have
out
to.
of the gate. Right. And
Yeah.
you don't have to. I'm not settled on a color with my business. I have 3 delivery drivers that they're 1099, so they don't work consistently for me. I will call them if, graduation season, I'm super heavy.
Mhm.
They will be now coming up within the next couple of weeks, helping me with an event that we're doing. But they, I let them pick their colors that they wanted. I gave them, the catalog, but they have to have an LGM shirt on. Like they cannot come to work. You are not getting paid if you don't have a logoed shirt on. And so I did. They have 3 t-shirts. They have 2 long sleeve shirts, and they have a hoodie. So
That's good.
So we've been
Yeah.
holding off on this because
What happened in the chat, Lisa?
I got to show you this, y'all. Matt Russell has shared his shorts with us.
oh geez.
He branded his shorts.
I love that.
But his name is the best. Are they
I
twisted
hope-
mister? I can't see them.
I can't
can't
either.
see what
I
it
tried to
says.
zoom in, but I don't want to
Yeah,
lose
Matt,
the
that's
feed. And I'm just
amazing.
hoping that those are his outer shorts, and he's not sending us pictures of his underwear. So,
No, those
otherwise,
are
I'm
definitely
really
outer
sorry
shorts.
for sharing
Yeah,
that
those are
on
like- those
Facebook,
are like
Matt.
swim-
No,
His
that's
toes,
fine.
his toes were in the picture, so I'm not sure.
Right. But it's funny. So Debbie, you
Yeah.
said you're moving
Drop
in,
trout.
or you have stuff embroidered now. So that's where I was going with that. Like now I'm moving into, before it was just the t-shirts, because t-shirts are obviously cost effective.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I'm moving into, I really like the look of a polo. Like I want everyone to have a
love
collar
polos.
on their shirt. I'm a
So
huge fan
again, you mentioned Sarah Meyer before. She suggested getting these magnetic labels that you put on your
you
shirt.
you can get
Not a
name
pin, it's like
labels
a magnet. You put
made.
the magnet
Yeah.
inside, and then you
Yeah.
can be wearing any solid colored or
Mhm.
lightly patterned shirt. And you don't
which
have
is
to-
something that I use. I should have pulled mine out.
Well, it's essentially
when
it's a
I'm
name
twisting
tag.
when I'm twisting
Yeah.
balloons, I have a fancy name tag that one of the twister ladies did, and it has the cute balloon dog on the front, and it says Ronnie on it. And then I have another one that I had her make me, and it has the balloon dog, but it says Vegas Balloon on it. And so I can put that if
Right.
I'm
So
in
we
my
were
like
thinking at one
cute
time, I'll put
outfit,
one more
yeah.
question to the audience. Here, I'm going to share it again. Should we be changing? We were thinking about changing the color. But the truth is, we're so used to this color and we're so branded to this color. And
I
in
like
so
the
many
colors.
ways, it's
I like
such
the
a
colors.
Yeah.
standard. Well, we were thinking of going like to a wild berry and a pink, but we're pretty much decided that we're going to stay with the red and the blue. Dark
like the red and the
blue, a
blue.
little
I like
lighter
the
royal
colors.
blue, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
lots
I
of
do
My
like the
little
colors.
my little elephant has a green and a blue balloon, and that's the only thing I wish I would have changed. But now I'm so in love with my little logo my husband made me that I'm like, I will
Well,
never change it from
right.
the green and the blue
And
balloon.
that's
Like
another thing.
I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Like
My-
I love
my
it.
I
colors
did a
are-
pricing sheet and it's all green and blue balloons. And I'm like, well, I could go back and I could change my entire pricing sheet. But I'm like, it doesn't, that stuff, like you get hung up in the details, and those are the things that really don't matter. Because
Yeah.
when somebody's calling LGM because they were referred to me, they're not going to be like,
Yeah.
oh,
Ugh.
her.
I feel
her
like
pricing-
logos are really like they really are just for us. Like it's not like we're
Well,
like
I
it's
mean,
also-
there's
it's
definitely
also for
something
your
to be said about a
emails.
brand.
my logo
Yeah.
is in every email signature. It's
Mhm.
on
Right.
my
I think mine
cell
is too,
phone,
yeah.
you know, and that's where it's important so that you look professional.
Although you know
Not
what,
so
I
much
take
like-
I take back what I said, because somebody did say I saw a picture and I saw your little elephant in the corner and I knew that was you. So actually, I
Yeah.
completely take back what I just
Okay,
said.
well, you,
But that's
you
that's
but I
your
love
also
my
color.
I love my elephant. Like what your logo looks like is something more like I wanted a baby elephant holding balloons. For some reason, I was
Yeah.
like, I'm obsessed with elephants. I'm not, by the way. I am not actually obsessed with elephants. I'm obsessed with moose.
Right.
Moose, and I love platypuses. But I'm going, I can't put a platypus holding a like balloons. Nobody's gonna know what that is.
and the moose. Why didn't you put the moose? What made you decide to do elephant?
Because she's not
I
from
just
Canada.
love the idea of a little
Canadian.
elephant in his little trunk holding the balloons. I
That's
don't know.
actually really cute.
I fell in
though.
love with the idea. I probably saw
Matt
it
was
this is what
saying
I'm
that the
gonna say.
logo. Matt's saying that the logo needs to be professional for corporate clients, and I totally believe that.
Yeah.
Whatever your
Yeah.
logo is going to be consistent. So even
Yes.
though like Debbie's changing, she's keeping the same colors and the same feel, and it's a gradual
It's
change.
really
Right.
just a modernization of the logo.
And
But
you
I'm like,
want to
if
you
you're
want to
gonna-
make sure that your logo is something that, like, if you decide to watermark your photos with your logo, it's got to be something that's not going to overpower the photo, but people can still see it. Like, does everybody watermark their photos when they
Yeah.
post them?
Yeah.
I do with
Well,
my
so-
terrible email address, lisamctwister@yahoo.com. It's just like watermark there, so that way
I-
people can reach me. But
It
Yeah.
I must
also has
admit-
to be something that translates well into black and white, which the first one with the
Mm.
bubble writing did not at all. It looked terrible in black and
Yeah.
white. And there are
Yeah.
times when you need a black and white logo. I forget what they told me when, but there are times.
Yeah.
And this they tell me will translate well. We also
Yeah, that will. Yeah.
just a technical thing in our list, in the logo we have now, the balloons have like a shading on them that makes them very hard to replicate with the silhouette or the cricket. And
Yeah.
also when it's black and white, it has like a funny look to it.
mm,
And it's very hard to replicate that
Mhm.
shading because
I have
Yeah.
two
Some
versions of
graphic
my
reason.
logo. I have one where the balloons are shaded, and then I have one that's a solid one for when I do stuff on the Cricut. What about Stephanie? Do you watermark all your photos before you post them on like social media?
Yeah, so here's the thing, and so this is the part of like my transition. So you guys know this, but our viewers wouldn't know this. So Jill Shortreed of Charleston Balloon Company is probably my biggest mentor within the industry. I absolutely love her. Like when I grow up, I want to be Jill. Like literally, I mean, she and Jill, I hope that this is going to make it back to you because I honestly mean everything that I'm saying. She is such a brilliant businesswoman. She, is an absolutely beautiful designer and balloon artist, but beyond that, she is a brilliant businesswoman. Definitely somebody that I would call a boss bitch. Sorry, everyone, but she is. So I had the privilege of not only being trained by Jill, I went to a seminar that she was teaching that I actually was awarded a scholarship to. I also had the privilege of going down and actually visiting her in her shop. And just like, I was so overwhelmed at how beautiful her shop was, and just how like every detail, anything that goes in or out of that shop, she knows about it. And she can tell you, this has 35 pieces of ribbon on it. This has this goes out here. This is what my
Right.
fee is if you call me after this time. I mean, she has her business model down to a science. And that is something that's very attractive to me. So, I don't even know where the heck I was going with this. Oh, so Jill, you know, we were talking about things, and we went out to lunch together, and I had this whole list of questions that I wanted to ask her. And I have to be honest with you, once I got there, I was like I didn't know. And now, like, when I'm back home in Chicago, I'm like, I should have asked her this. I should have asked her this, you know. But one of the things that we talked about was that she's like, you know, she's like, I don't watermark my photos anymore, because what are you watermarking your photo for? To keeping someone from stealing it, to
Yeah.
get attention? She's like, I think that my pictures look cleaner and nicer without the watermark on it, so I don't do it anymore. And that was like food for thought for me. Like, I went back and, you know, because I'm like plastering and I'm putting it on like little tiny, like, haha, like you'll never be able to crop it out of here, you know.
Mhm.
And I'm like, that it really takes away from my design. Like, it really takes away from the essence of what I'm trying to capture in my picture. So,
You know what though? But then people
I
see
do and
something
I
gorgeous,
don't, you know.
and they don't
Yeah.
know it's you.
Yeah, I mean, so
Jenny
I'm
West
definitely
has
of a
just said that
mixed
she's,
mind.
if I could interrupt real quick, Jenny West says that she's never watermarked. She's like, some of the stuff she's got down, and others she's like learning a lot. And I just wanted to interject that you probably can I do it with my phone. I have a free watermark. I think it's just called like
Same.
Add Watermark Free
Yeah.
app that I got from the Google
use-
Play
yeah.
Store.
I use Over. It's a free, same thing, free app, and I can just what I like about Over too, though, is that I can take that photo and I can size it down to Instagram, to a Facebook cover, to like, it actually has like the when you go to add the image. Let's see. Hopefully, you guys hang on.
Oh
You
no.
can't see
My
it.
thing. Hang on.
Hold it like in front of
so-
you, Ronnie.
Can you?
Right.
Okay.
Do like the
Yeah.
makeup
So-
Maybe if you
tutorials.
hold it in front of you.
Yeah, the makeup
Yeah.
tutorial. So what I like about Over is that, so if this is my image that I've uploaded, then what I like is when I go here to the bottom, you can see, can you see where?
You
There
can
we
like
go.
choose how to
No.
put it.
Yeah, so I can
Yeah.
choose, okay, like here's my Instagram. So there's my square, there's my, if I need it portrait mode, if I need it, you know, a full screen, all these different, so, and it even goes as far as Facebook and Pinterest. So I like
Yeah.
it because it's a free app, obviously free, and like even Twitter. So if I wanted to put it as my header for Twitter, or like
Right.
I am obsessed with this app. I love
we
Over,
have-
and
we
then I can
hired
change the
Like I said, we
of-
hired somebody to do this for us. But
To
if
do it
someone's
all.
looking for an inexpensive way to do that, hire a student. Hire somebody who's a marketing
Yeah.
student. If
will
you're
tell you if-
or
don't have a
Fiverr. Do
physical
you know? I don't know, like
person.
Fiverr.com. Nobody's really $5 anymore on there, but they
No,
used to be.
they're not.
Right.
you used to be able to find somebody on Fiverr, but like
Ooh,
also,
Dory's
like, remember-
excited. She's
yeah.
got Over, and she never knew that she could do that. So
Oh yeah, I love Over.
Yay.
I'm obsessed with it. And you can do you can resize and watermark videos with Over.
oh
So
wow.
like
Yeah,
I don't know
I
if
will-
So
everybody
I
on
don't
here
have a
follows,
physical-
with a twist, but Jackie does a lot of videos, and if you notice, I took my green pump and I put my Vegas balloon on there because Jackie has her name on her green pump. So when she puts it down, it's automatically, her name is in every single one of her videos. So even if I see that video shared 100 times, her name is right there on the
Oh,
pump
what
the
a
whole
smart
time when she's
idea.
using it. It's
Mhm.
brilliant.
Yeah.
And so I put my name, I went to my Cricut and put a sticker and put my name on my pump because I was like, Jackie did it. I'm doing it just like
Yeah.
Jackie.
thanks, Jackie.
Yeah, I don't
did
have
want to
a
say
physical
that
person.
oh.
Go ahead, Lisa.
that Dory says that we should do a whole show on apps. Noted.
Okay, we're looking for things to do.
We're gonna put that. Yeah, guys,
Right.
please message
Well,
us.
I'll
see
Send
how
us
many
messages
ideas.
about
Yeah.
like topics you would really like us to discuss. And
You see, we have no problem discussing. We just need the topic, and then you just sort of wind us up and press go, and then
and then just let us go.
Yeah.
Right.
Melissa Vincent said that she chooses not to watermark for her Instagram aesthetic. Now, I've actually heard that from more than one person where they only use like professionally taken photos that are like, they'll get them from the client. They're not walking around with their own professional photographer, and they will only post like professional photos to their Instagram, or they will never post something with a watermark. When I don't post something with a watermark, I always make sure that like I take the picture from further back and then I crop it down whenever I post it. That way, if anybody ever comes to me and wants to dispute that that's theirs or I stole it or that's not mine,
You have the full photo.
that I have the full photo. And nobody else can possibly prove that that is not my work, that is not my photo. Nobody else can claim it.
Because here's the other thing too. Like when it comes, like I watermark mine, like I said, like with my little elephant and with my, I do hide my website in there. Mainly because if somebody tries to add, like you can hide my watermark. Like if you really want to hide my little baby elephant logo, if you really
everybody,
you can.
Right.
But I totally do that thing, Stephanie, that you're talking where I'm like, well, yeah, like my website is really tiny, really
Like try to get it
right
out of there.
here. If you really want to say like that's not my photo, like, oh no, it is. There's my little tiny, what, and that's just because I found my picture on somebody's website.
Once your pictures start getting stolen, you know that you're on the right track. When pictures of your work are getting stolen,
or when your pictures,
I'll never forget.
It never bothered me that they were using my picture on their website. It bothered me that they tried to say that it wasn't my picture. And I'm like, I don't care that you're using it, but don't.
Yeah, I've never had anyone say that.
The biggest thrill was the first time we Googled an image and one of our pictures showed up in Google Images.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, we made it.
You made
it. The worst.
Right. I'm like, other artists are stealing pictures of my work.
I've ever made, and that one shows up on Google.
But I have two things. I have two things that I want to say really quick. So first, about the social media, Debbie, like you have a physical person who does it for you.
It was just beyond my capabilities.
I'm too much of a control freak. And also I'm a home-based business and we're in the midst of a pandemic. So I don't let people come into my home. Like when delivery drivers come, they come through the garage, they get loaded up, whatever.
It's all remote. It's all remote. I'm just all over the phone.
Yeah. So I actually have an app, which we can discuss this. Like Dory wants to talk about apps on the phone.
That's a really great idea.
I have an app that I can go on and I can schedule what's being posted on my Instagram, my Facebook, Pinterest, and also in my stories. So I pay for that service.
That's a good idea.
I pay for that service every month. I go in, there's a calendar. I can pick exactly what times you want it to go out. This is another huge thing about branding. Whatever social media platforms you're using, you need to pay attention to those algorithms. Those are very important. Yes. So you need to know when's the best time to be viewed, when you should post. They will specifically say, and the algorithms, especially for Facebook, are constantly changing. So it's something, it's a part of what you need to do. So that being said, so if you don't have the capabilities of hiring someone, do some research on apps that can help you out with your social media posting, because that's huge for your branding.
Maybe right after the new year, we'll do a show on apps.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
And then,
I'll be mostly quiet on that one.
Debbie will be taking notes.
I'll be taking notes. I got a few apps up my sleeve. What do you mean?
I mean,
Matt Russell wants to let us know that his pictures have never been stolen. So I guess watermarking for him is...
Who is that?
Matt Russell.
His balloon pictures have never been stolen.
Right. The second thing that I want to say about social media, because this is, again, something I try to stay very true to my work. So and this is one of the things that absolutely drives me crazy, and I know that there's other decorators in the industry that feel the same way. When a client sends you a picture off Pinterest, and you know that thing has been filtered to kingdom come, and you're like, I can triple stuff a balloon and I will never get that color because there is a filter on that.
It's oxidized. It's the worst when it's oxidized.
Right. I do not use a filter I will
Yeah.
tell you, like Lisa said, I crop my photos.
Mhm.
I crop them to obviously make them as aesthetically pleasing as possible. Bleh.
Yeah.
But I never use a filter.
No, me
So
neither.
I have two pet peeves, and one's on the opposite end of the spectrum. It's people who filter their pictures. They'll use like a Lightroom filter, they'll use stuff like that. That bothers me. And then when I have see other people's pictures and I'm like, did you not think to crop your basket of laundry out of your picture
Right?
before you're posting? I'm like, please.
Ugh.
It's like right on your phone. It's nothing you have to pay for. It's 30 seconds of your time to crop your picture.
We
Yeah.
sometimes
Like-
don't advertise a picture because it only had stuff in the background and we
Mhm.
didn't get a good picture of it. So don't show that picture, but like you said, show a
Yeah.
picture with laundry.
It
Yeah.
tries, and or you'll see like
Well,
a
it looks
dog's tail,
unprofessional,
like in the
right? Even if
corner.
it's just something you
Right.
snapped with your phone, if it
Mhm.
looks professional, you've got good lighting, you took a good angle, there's not like a blurry person walking in the background or some kid standing in
Right.
the foreground picking his nose or that pile of laundry. It's just kind of like that. I think that's good enough. If you're
Yeah.
so there's two things that I wanted to mention too. We were talking about because I
Oh
was
my gosh,
just about to
Debbie, I
lead
love
into
your
that.
nails. I love that. I
Oh,
love that one's
thank you.
green and one's red. I love that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Shiny.
I
Sorry.
spent a lot of time on the phone with my family today, and I'm like, what could I possibly be doing while I'm on the phone with them?
I was like,
Painting my
ooh, shiny,
nails.
pretty nails.
Multitasking.
Sorry.
That's a whole nother episode, y'all.
That's an entirely new episode.
So two things that I wanted to mention is when it comes to your branding, where it's like, what is your target audience? So for that person, or I should say for that business, it's like, I'm only putting professional photos on my Instagram.
Mhm.
Clearly they're going for the high-end clients. They're not
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
for the moms that are calling and going, I got to check around to find, if you are calling something and it looks like a photo that came out of like, Better Homes and Gardens or something,
Right.
that's,
Mhm.
whenever you call that person, if you've got a tiny budget, that you're going to have sticker shock. And so, playing to your target audience, I think is really, really big. And that also falls into like whenever you design your logo, if you're using Comic Sans and it clearly is something that like,
Which
you
is
did
fine if you want to be
in
like a
paint.
fun, yeah. But people,
Right,
so many people make fun of comics. Like that's another
I
font
love
that
it. It's
I
my
love
favorite.
using it. It's so cute and fun and bubbly, but like nobody's gonna take you seriously, unfortunately.
Exactly. It's
I
got
have
such
a
a
Walt
stigma
Disney font
attached.
that I love, but
Oh,
also
yeah.
you can't use it for everything.
Debbie's looking to get sued.
Yeah.
And
No,
then
it's called what?
It's called Waltafont.
The font or something.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's Waltafont. It's actually a font that you can purchase and like you can use it, but I'm like, ooh.
No, this
yeah.
was a font I purchased that
Yeah,
is
you purchased the
similar,
rights
but it's
to
not,
it.
it's
yeah,
not
you
called
purchased
Disney
it.
anything.
Yeah.
But the
I have
second
the-
point is, so the,
yeah.
the first
I'll
point I
be
wanted to say is,
broadcasting the next episode from prison, I hope they'll let me
Denver's
have
prison
Facebook
because you've been
Live in
sued.
prison
Yeah.
and my
I'll
webcam.
put money
Well,
on your
right
commissary, don't
now in the
worry.
pandemic, I don't think that Disney is too worried about stuff because the amount of people that I see posting ears and all sorts of other stuff that I'm like, if Disney actually ever decides to come after you, like, you might want to close your Etsy store, but
Yeah,
for now, I'm
that
like,
might be
ooh,
how
I'm
they
gonna
make
go
up their
ahead and buy
losses
those.
for 2020 is the
Right?
losses
They're
of
gonna go after
2021.
all of the
Right?
the Etsy shops that are using
Jeez.
their branding and stuff. Yeah. But yeah.
So I did want to bring up 2 points. The one was know your target audience whenever you're designing your brand or choosing what you want to do for your brand and your logo,
Mhm.
that cater to those people, that you think about what they want and design your brand to draw them in. And then the other thing is something that I learned at Float in the branding marketing class from the gal from Badass Balloons. I'm gonna say her name wrong. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Her name is Desiree Ontiveros, I think, from Badass Balloons. And so she had a lot of good information, but the one thing that she said, I'm sitting in the back of the class and I'm like, oh, she's talking to me, is stay in your lane. And I was like, oh, I needed to hear that because I've been thinking about rebranding for a long time now. I started off as a twister. I, rolled in decor, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go into face painting, and I do stage performances, and
Look,
that
there's
like
a
it just
squirrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I'm like,
That's what I was
I
talking
need
about
to-
earlier. It's like I do t-shirts, I do balloons, I do
Yeah.
sweets, I do pipe and drape, I do this, I do backstraps. And I'm like, okay.
and my
And I'm
You're an
and
event,
I'm a
you're an
fitness
event,
coach,
yeah,
and
you're an
I
event
work
planner, and
at, you know,
that's, yeah.
wherever. I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
my business name and my logo, which is literally my business name, is you know, it's all over the place because, or sorry, my business is all over the place, glitter tattoos, everything. But my business name is Lisa McTwister. So if I do end up growing, which that's the plan at some point, if I don't end up like,
We'll help you rebrand,
you
Lisa.
know, yeah, well, if I don't end up like, you know, look what happened to Jessica and Mary Lou, the designers of the year this past float.
Right.
Like they had two completely separate businesses that they merged into two because they were stronger together. If I don't end up doing something like that, which ideally would be what I would want, is to bring on a partner or have them bring me on. And so that way we can play to each other's strengths, right?
That's Judy and I. I mean,
Yeah.
I would not
Well,
be.
and that's
super
for
jealous
me,
of
like
you.
my big thing starting last year was that I wanted Vegas Balloon to be what I do, and I wanted Ronnie the Balloon Girl to be who I am. And so for
Yes,
me, I'm
exactly.
actually like, I'm like, when I think about, like, I have two Instagrams, and I have one that's Vegas Balloon, and I have like, that's all of my decor and stuff, and then I have Ronnie the Balloon Girl, and that is me being as ADD
But I
as I
think that that's
possibly
great
can, and that's like my
because you
fun.
guys,
Yeah. But like, I
right,
know
you
that
guys
like
are still
that's
doing
my,
the same thing.
yeah.
You're still doing balloons. It's an umbrella.
Mhm.
So you guys
Yeah,
are
And
like
that's,
under
yeah, and
an
that's,
umbrella.
I wanted,
Yeah,
I
I'll
wanted
Right.
still
people
keep
to know
the
my, like, I wanted them
email
to
and
know my
everything. I'll
name.
just
Yeah.
funnel it to, like, you know, Ronnie the Balloon Girl.
Right.
If you look up Ronnie
Yeah.
the
You guys
Balloon
are just
Girl, you're still gonna get Vegas
pivoting.
balloons. And so
Yeah, and
I'll be doing the
that's
same
exactly
thing.
what it
I
is.
just
Like the all of my I have so many websites, it's crazy, but it's kind of it's excessive. But they all forward to Vegas Balloon. So whether you look up Ronnie the Balloon Girl, if you look up
Right.
the event entertainment, if you look up, you know, all these different things, it all funnels back to Vegas Balloon. So like they know that, like, that, because that's the business. But it's I wanted people to know I got I'm a little narcissistic and an only child, and I really wanted people to know my name. So I wanted them to know that it's Ronnie. Like, it's Ronnie is the one, you know, my name is like,
Ronnie
yes, I'm
J.
Vegas Balloon, but
girl.
I'm
yeah.
Ronnie J. Yeah.
See,
That
that's the
was-
difference
that
in
was something.
generations. You're Ronnie the Balloon Girl, and we're always called the Balloon Ladies.
Yes. Oh,
Almost as
But
bad as
that's
being
like
called Balloon
I
Ma'am.
started going I picked Ronnie the Balloon Girl because people literally were like, oh, the Balloon Girl's here. And I'm like, that's right, Ronnie the Balloon Girl's here. Like,
Yeah, I'll
I
remember
was
the
like, I'm gonna
first
own
time that
it.
I was called the balloon lady, and I was like, "Who the hell are you calling lady? I
Well,
don't want to
then
be
I
called
was called
lady."
ma'am.
I was like, "No,
None of you
no,
have been
The
no."
ma'am yet,
the
have
balloon
you?
madam.
oh, I got my
I
first
have
ma'am
been
at Disney
ma'am.
World when I was like 8 years old. It was like I was being told to move because I was in the way of the parade, and they're like, ma'am, 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 ma'am. And I'm like, and my mother goes, she's never been called ma'am before. You're going to have to excuse her. Because I was like a deaf child, like
You're
waiting for the
"She's
parade
8."
to come.
What?
Yeah.
Little
Yeah,
girl,
what
little
are you
girl,
talking
little
to?
girl.
Yeah, but he's
Yeah.
mamming me.
Yeah.
So bringing up Balloon Lady, I mean, don't we all end up getting called that at some point in time?
Oh, yeah.
It's a great time to segue because we're running out of time. Our Wonder of the Week.
Oh, yes.
If you
Yeah.
guys are new, welcome. We've got a new segment that we were trying to kick off, so please participate. We've
Send
got
us
the
your
wonders of the
wonders.
week. And so yes, please send us your wonders. Float
What's the email
working
address?
wonders at gmail.com. That's working wonders with an S, float working wonders at gmail.com. And please feel free to send us all your submissions. This isn't a contest. It's just kind of like, oh my gosh, look what they did. We love to hear, especially if you learned it at Float, just so it helps us know, like with Ronnie, you know, you can find this in the Float book of da 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 da.
Oh,
And
No, when we
makes
feel
it-
good when we're inspirations to everybody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Dina is in Springfield, Missouri, and she is known as Dina the Balloon Lady. And we chose her to be our
Love
Wonder
it.
of the Week this week. And I'm going to show
Yay,
off.
Dina.
Because she used her direct technique. It was like a week later, right? From her float
Mhm.
class.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I'm going to go ahead and share this. this is the art she made.
So
And there she is
awesome.
down below. And she learned the elf in Tope's class. Isn't he
Yeah,
cute?
Love it. It's so cute.
Beautiful.
So adorable. So adorable.
So,
And
I
that was in
love
Tope's class. And I think that Steve will have to correct me if I'm wrong. I think you can still purchase the tutorial in the orange store. And I have to interject here real quick. The Twister in me was just like dying over her outfit. And I'm sorry, this is such a grainy photo.
I know. I love the
Oh
Right.
my
sweaters.
God.
Merry
I love
Twistmas
those
on her sweater
sweaters.
and the balloon dogs on her
That's
mask.
cute.
Like,
That
how
is
cute
so
is
cute.
that?
She's got a balloon dog on her sweater too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
says
says-
Mary.
yeah.
The sweater
Mary
says Mary Twist.
Twistmas.
I
Yes.
love
Mary
it.
Twistmas.
It's so cute. There's so many cute like Twister things. Like my favorite one is the guy he did it was like a Darth Vader, and it says, "I find your lack of balloons disturbing." And it's my favorite thing. And I swear I'm gonna buy myself a t-shirt every single time I see it. And I'm like, but it's so
Right.
cute. So cute. I love it.
Well,
love it.
kudos to you for taking Tope's design and incorporating it to be your own. 'Cause
Yeah.
I love that.
Right. That's exactly
That's
what we're looking
amazing.
for in our wonders. That
Yeah.
Yeah.
things
And
that
Stephanie,
people have
if you could,
gained from the Float Network or from Float, and the way they're incorporating them into their everyday business.
And it doesn't have to be something that uses, just something that you're like, look at this amazing thing that I did this
Yeah,
week.
or even
Right.
if I didn't smack one of my kids today. We'll take it.
That's
yeah,
me.
we'll take anything.
That would be my
Right.
wonder.
Yeah, so in our closing, Stephanie's supposed to be the one that's telling you all about the wonders of the week. So can you
Oh, that's
sum up the
nice.
last 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Give them the pitch, Stephanie, and
Well, you already gave him the pitch.
Wait,
I know, but
I'm
you
gonna
say
give
it
you-
so much
Listen,
better.
if you
I'll
want
push the-
me,
I'll push the
if you
Float
want
notebook
me to
again.
give you the pitch, I'm gonna give you
Here.
guys the pitch. I'm gonna say the pitch. It's gonna be the Stephanie Marquardt way. We want to hear about all your boss bitch moves. So send it
Yes.
in to Float Wonders,
Working
Float Working Wonders with an S.com. Whether it's your kid was throwing up until 3 o'clock in the morning and you got up at 7 a.m. and did your install, and you had your son or daughter in the back seat, because I have been there.
You all have.
If you,
Well.
you had to drive 4 hours to a different distributor
Almost.
to pick up your supplies, we want to hear about all of that stuff, because that's what me and these 3 other ladies do. We run our households. All of us are wives. Most of us are mothers, soon to be.
Yeah,
We'll all be
three-quarters
4
of us
mothers
anyway.
very soon. 3/4 of us soon. But we don't just get to be balloon artists for 8 hours a day. We don't wake up in the morning and everything is not sunshine and rainbows. So that is what we're here to tell you guys. Like, you're not alone in the struggles of things. And we want to celebrate your successes, because that's what we're here for. Like, being working wonders, balancing your home life, and also being a badass in your business.
Much better.
Right,
pitch.
because we
I love
call ourselves
That's the
and our
pitch,
show
girl.
the
You
That's
Working
the
got it. You
Wonders.
got it.
Love it.
Yeah,
That's the
we call
pitch.
ourselves and our show the Working Wonders, but really Working Wonders is like what we do. And it's
Right.
what you guys do too. So
And I just want to give a
I'm
quick
gonna pitch
update on
the
Marissa
Float
Matthews.
notebook again.
Everybody knows she had the surgery and she's
Hi.
at home and recovering. Last we heard, she was in some pain, but she's doing well. And she's still appreciating cards and letters and, of course, prayers and thoughts. So the address is
Okay.
in the Float group. And if anybody,
Perfect.
you could send a second one if you want. But she really appreciated being touched by everybody. It meant a lot to her that she was in everybody's thoughts.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Cheers.
And I'm just gonna keep like, I honestly, so I'm not gonna lie, when they were talking about the float, like the float notebook beforehand, I was like, I'm not buying that. There's no way I'm ever gonna use it. I'm just gonna go to the classes. You guys, I'm an idiot. I'm so happy that I ended up buying this book, because of the fact that it's like, there's classes that I missed that like all the illustrations and everything are done so well. I got the one in color because somebody told me the one in black and white was not as easy to read with the pictures. And that
biggest
marketing
regret I
class,
have is only getting the black and white
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Like
The black and
I
white
was
Nice.
so
one.
happy. I was so happy that I pre-ordered it. I was like, I'm doing it. And if you're like I said, like for me with my social media, when I actually follow Sarah's 25 like things here, and I'm not going to do all of them. Like there's one where she talks about Canva, and I'm like, I'm not learning another like website or anything, but
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff that she talks about, you know, like me being my brand, and the fact that it's like I stopped saying the words we when I would post something like we did this, we did. I'm like, we who? The French we,
Yeah.
like the
Oh,
royal
I
we?
always say
No. Like
we.
I showed up at that office and I inflated 500 balloons and I got up on the ladder and I made that look amazing. So I stopped being afraid to say, look at this amazing thing that I did. Or if I am there with my team, then it's like, hey, look at this thing that my team and I did. You know, if I have assistants, I'm going to give them credit. I'm going to be like, Amber was super amazing on the machine. And like my husband, Dave, was so awesome, making sure I didn't fall off the ladder. But 9 times out of 10, it's literally me. And I am no longer afraid to
Me,
say
myself,
that
and
was
I.
me. Yeah.
I
my
think that ties into
team.
branding too,
Yeah.
because I think we discussed this before, where Ronnie and I are, and I think it comes from like our twisting and more performer side, where we are just us, and where Debbie and Stephanie are like a business, and you know they
Yeah.
would have like more likely to have a crew and a team. Whereas, you know, and I don't want to speak for Ronnie here, where I'm more likely to join somebody else's team than I am to
And
get my
lead
own.
the team.
Yeah.
You
Well,
are,
you
you're
know,
much
depends.
too humble. You're much too
Yeah,
humble.
you're the head of the team.
Yeah,
You're
you
Rudolph.
are much too humble.
My head's getting bigger, guys.
I mean,
so
I love a humble.
Yeah,
I love a humble
don't be
person,
afraid.
but
Yeah,
I want you
don't
to
be
boss up,
afraid
Lisa.
to let the people know on
Don't hide your
Instagram,
light
on
under a bushel.
Facebook, whatever. Like let them know, like I'm the one that did this. Me. That's why you
I'm
should hire me, because
blushing.
I'm amazing. Yeah.
Right? Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Don't be
so,
afraid to tell people that you're amazing.
thank you. Oh, that
Don't be afraid.
that should be another episode of ours, the humble brag. Like,
A humble
I don't know how to
brag.
be humble.
so anywho,
Stop
speaking
it.
of episodes, next week on Wednesday, we are going to be discussing the holidays. It is going to be our ugly sweater episode. Yay! So tune in to see not black shirts, and we'll see y'all
Send
then.
us
Okay.
pictures of you
I'm
in
so
your ugly
excited.
sweater.
Yes.
If
Oh my
people
gosh.
have
If
pictures
you
of
guys have ugly
themselves in ugly
sweaters, send them
sweaters.
to us so we can share
Or
it
if
on our.
you want to wear
okay?
them and send us a picture on the chat of you in your ugly sweater.
Yes. Let us see
That
your ugly
works.
sweaters. We'll
That
share
works.
them.
All right. We'll see you all next week. All
Take
right.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.